Imagine a conscious contact with God so strong that no matter what you are doing or not doing, that no matter what your kids are up to or not up to, and that whether you've got the person of your dreams or they're just not cooperating, that you are happy, content, and at peace. A space where everyone else's thoughts, attitudes, and actions are beautiful and exactly as they are supposed to be. Well, this is the space where I like to play. My name is Mischa Z, and this is today's Bitch Slap. Join me as I shed light on the thoughts, actions, and attitudes that are causing you pain, and we train our minds to go to the capital S inner self, the joy that is waiting for us, the God within.
I am going to talk about that we can have happiness in any moment, that happiness is a decision. And what are some implications of that? And what is a more effective way for me to talk about that? And I because I realized, like today I wrote down that, yeah, we can have happiness in any moment, and happiness is a decision. And then I ended up on this Zoom group meeting where I got to lead a talk, or I got to share first. And so I got to talk about that idea that happiness is a decision. And I think, and what happens is inevitably somebody goes to the extreme circumstance. Well, if you had this circumstance that is so extreme, of course you can't decide to be happy in this circumstance. And I frame that as well. And what I realized, though, well, what I realized after some other people had shared and discussed was that I gave no steps or no framework. So I just float an idea, and then it can sound great, but I'm not like, here's actionable, here's how it's actionable, or going a little bit deeper with it. And so I had said, hey, happiness is a decision. Oftentimes when we talk about that, somebody automatically goes to the extreme. I said that too. So then I got to pick someone to share next. So I pick someone to share next. And that person says, I disagree because here's the circumstances. And when I floated the idea, I said, we can be happy in any moment in spite of our circumstances. Like if we're depending on circumstances for our happiness, that's an exercise in futility. And so this person said, well, I disagree, which is cool. And we were having fun. And I was laughing at myself. And so she said, hey, I've got a sister who's, or one of my daughters just got real sick. My other daughter just broke her neck, and something else happened. And so she's like, I can't be happy. And the thing is, there's no opportunity to rebut. So I was just listening and going, oh, that's interesting. Those can be seemingly times when you cannot be happy. Right. And so there was great conversation with other people as they talked about it. But it really got me thinking that, okay, what if happiness is a decision? What are the steps to happiness? Because I think if we can decide to be happy in any moment, that doesn't mean we're going to be happy in the moment. We've got to take next steps. And that was sort of my aha, like breakthrough thinking right there. The next time I have an opportunity in front of people, or if I'm having a discussion with a friend or an interested, willing listener, a captive audience like you on this podcast right now, that let's talk about the steps. So I think first, clearly you need to be willing. you need to be willing to think that that's possible. Maybe you don't. I think it'd be nice. Like that lady clearly was not willing. She's like, no, I'm not willing. She already, the circumstances popped up in her head. She was in a state of unhappiness, as she said in the moment. I'm not happy because of my two daughters who are going through distress. And which makes me think of a lot of great stuff of of about that, but I'll save that for either if I have enough time here or for another episode. So let me get back to it. So, okay, happiness is a decision. I'm willing to be happy. Okay, so what's the next thing? The next thing is, all right, one tool would be to take a big breath in and a big breath out. Because that powerful breath, that God-centered breath can pull you into the moment, right? And then what would be a next step you could do? You could talk to your higher power or that thing that is greater than you that hopefully you can put some belief into or trust into or something. And so perhaps you could turn to that. Grow your God, shall we say. So I love that idea. Next time I have the opportunity in public to talk about happiness as a choice or a decision, then to say, all right, A, we got to be willing. B, we got to take a big breath in. And then, C, D, and E, for example. And I don't have C, D, and E penciled out on the top of my head. But what do I do? Because I am working on happiness in the moment. So the big deep breath and then talking to God. And if I am in a state of resentment, do the resentment tools. If I'm in a state of fear about a situation, what are the is a big breath in and a prayer enough, or do I need to pull out pen and paper, or do I need to grab some of my literature that reinforces happiness in the moment? Or I'm just thinking about all these cool ways to come back to the moment. And I will, in a perfect world, I'd have had more of those penciled out before I started recording this episode, but I think you get what I'm saying. And I think I would have been more effective today on that Zoom group meeting that I got to lead if I would have, when I floated the idea that happiness is a decision, then I could have given examples, real life examples of myself and what were the steps I took to bring me back to happiness in the moment. So there you have it. That's what I guess too. I'm on this 2CCX, this Russell Brunson thing, this learning how to be a more effective storyteller, a more effective teacher, to carry a more poignant message. And so that's what really got me thinking about the happiness in the moment. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm saying that, but then I'm not perhaps talking about the learned it and earned it, or here's the framework and the steps. I gave you the strategy. Now here's the tactics you can use to achieve that. And there is some literature that was, yes, thank you. Sorry, I'm a bit scattered, or pinging around, but I realize as well that I could have referenced some literature that is powerful, that affirms that idea. And it's common literature that is common knowledge style literature, and so I can be like, hey, if you believe that this person is valid in their thinking, then, here's the literature that they've produced. Here's what they say to do, right? Okay, does that make sense? Am I making sense here, people? I hope so. Happiness is a decision. We need to be willing. Then we need to at least take a breath, big breath in, long breath out, to come back to the moment. And then perhaps, depending on what type of discontent is it some fears of losing what I have or not getting what I want? Or is it, family tension, strife, kids being sick, or I don't know. You get it. I'm done. I'm just digging the hole deeper. I hope this episode gets published. Love to all.
Thank you for spending time with me today. As someone who is committed to growth and service to this world, I so appreciate your willingness to come with me, go within, and serve our world through change. If you found value in this podcast and you know someone who can use this message, share this episode with them. Share it so our mission can be achieved one episode at a time. And of course, subscribe so you can hear more. And lastly, for more resources on what has helped me on my journey and can help you on yours, go to belove.media/resources. That's BELOVE.media/resources. Thank you again for listening.